Alright, I'm here. You know, one of the fun factors about getting set up for a stream is that when you're not automatically set up all the time to just start and go, all these little simple tasks are just complicated. And I was going to do one earlier, but I was getting more prepared for it, and something happened to basically ruin my mood. I'm not even certain. I've got the phone flipped around the other direction right now, so I don't have the same exact view, and I'm not sure how well you can see me. I don't have the same exact view as I did yesterday. I've been watching the old wrestling. I'm in the 90s of WCW and WWF, formerly WWF. And I'm currently in 1998. And one of the things about wrestling is no matter who the bad guys are, and no matter who the good guys are, when an injury is obviously real, when it's not just part of the act, everybody stops and everything stops. The announcers sound different, the wrestlers act different, no matter which side they're on. And Buff Bagwell of the NWO, anyone who remembers those days, got a neck injury by being driven into the back of Rick Steiner during a match. You know, and that's the thing. That's how you know a lot of the acting is just an act, because when everybody is suddenly concerned about one athlete. Although it's funny because not too long ago, I saw an episode of Raw where Mick Foley and Terry Funk were thrown off the stage inside of a dumpster, and they really made that seem like a real injury. And then in the same show, they come running back down into the ring. And I thought, man, that's just terrible. They made that all look so real. They had the wrestlers angry at Billy Gunn and Road Dogg for doing it. Oh. You know, when the injuries are real, the athletes do not come back down into the ring and get into a fight. So, you know, that's always something to look out for. Alright, I'm going to try to work on the dragon here. I'm not too certain. You know what I forgot to do? I was going to plug in my headphones in the hopes that the sound would be better. I get breathing kind of heavy when I'm concentrating, because when I'm talking at the same time, I don't keep my mouth closed in between. I don't stop and just breathe through my nose when I'm getting ready to talk again. I try to get into the habit of that, but it just doesn't work. Not when I'm focusing on, what am I going to paint this guy? I got a wider brush now with the brush set that I bought, so it should be easier to go over his wings. I'm hoping that I've got the light good enough for everybody to be able to see that I'm painting, and I'm not just holding it up here away from the camera. Alright, Armageddon Dust. This was a bronze dragon, actually. But I don't think I want to paint him bronze or gold. I gave him the eyes of a similar color to that. I have oh yeah, yesterday I said that the other type of paint is it's a layer. I do have one. It's called a layer. So many different types of this that I really don't know what the difference is between some of them. Purple and black are my favorite color combination. Now I would assume that a layer would go over something else, but right now I don't care. I want a purple and black dragon. I'm not even getting the bone structure up at the top here. I'm going to paint over that later. I'm not going to get all of it. I've got to get between some of these because they're, you see what I'm doing. I'm going to have to go back over the ones that the wrapper came off of this brush. I didn't know it was going to do that. Alright. Well, it'll be easy to grip it now anyway. I thought it felt kind of slick with this on there. I have to keep breaking it off. I can't just slide it off or pull it off at once. So now I've got all this going down here on my stool. Worry about the rest of it later. I guess what I want to do here at the moment is do the outer wingspan. I think I'm going to need the narrower brushes to get that bone structure in between the bone structure. The way that I have it looking, it really looks like I should be alternating the colors more. But I think some parts of this are just going to be a single color and not really be separated. See, now right there is still part of the bone structure on the wingtips. I didn't get all of it the first time. Okay. This is just the outside of the wing. I'm getting on the inside ought to be fun. Streaks on there later. After this dries. I would assume that black would be dark enough to go over it. You know, and it's not like the scales, the skin can't just grow over the shape of the bone and be that color. I'm certainly aware of that. It's just we're all one color on our bodies. Our skin is peach or brown or red or whatever they. whatever the color is for that particular ethnic group, that particular race. They don't change color just because it's over a bone. But I wanted that part of the structure to be sort of showing, as if the bones are sticking out, because they look like they are up here around this area too. I may give them black scales too, just to sort of make that work. Or I mean, black scales. Along the tail, those ridges, and along the back. I'm not sure I'm really going to finish this right now either. I'm just doing this part. You know, and I'm not a where I may go and buy another dragon or another creature and try to paint them too, even when I haven't finished this one. I'm certainly capable of doing that. And like I said in my previous stream, this is never going to come out perfect. Someone might think it looks good, and other people won't be so impressed because they're more skilled at it. Well, that's good for them. When I get concentrating like this, it's especially difficult for me to talk when I'm playing a video game. You know, and there's no one in my chat, so there's nothing for me to look up at and respond to. Which that would be nice if I had that. Now I'm getting down to where it's sort of the under the shoulder area. Maybe that doesn't need to be as heavily painted. As long as I have everything covered, I can dab it on. Because one thing about animals, especially with the serpents and reptiles, is sometimes their under body areas are more faded in color. They're not as dark. And I'm sure that has a lot to do with the natural order of things. It's not exposed to the sun as much. They're not like dogs and cats who like to lay on their backs in the sun. They like to keep their bellies down on the cool ground. But a lot of times if you have one as a pet, they like to be under a heated lamp too, so. Now there, I've done that side. Not all of it, and I haven't done up here because up here is where I am going to paint the bones black. And I don't feel like going between those with this brush. I'm going to have to use one of the narrower brushes for that first. Try out one of my new ones here. See, this brush is shaped differently than the other one. And I don't know if that's going to peel off too or not. Not too worried about it. Let's go back to the Abaddon Black. I at least have a somewhat better setup for everyone to be able to view this. The trouble I've got is the constant leaning forward. I don't like doing that. I don't have a table to lean on in front of me. I don't have a double camera so people could see me and see what I'm doing. This brush may be just a tad bit wider than the one I used previously. It's pointed, but it's wider. Yeah, and it presses down wider. So that could be a problem. Especially going back over this area that I covered in purple. I'm going to find my other brush. It's got to be over there. Pushed under something. It's not that big of a mess. It's mostly a couple of video games stacked in there. And stuff from packages get thrown in there. Until I decide to throw them away. Yeah, this brush is too wide for that. I just went down over the... Wait a minute. Okay. What about this one? I don't see the other one. Yeah, this would have been better to use for that. Oh, I don't see the one that I bought with the original set. I'm not sure why. It should just be sitting right there. Must have been pushed over someplace. Yeah, this is going to turn out to be a little bit sloppy because I know myself, and maybe someday down the road I will get around to fixing it. But as it is right now, if I just finished it, that's how I would leave it. I brought up in the beginning of the video about watching the old wrestling because the commentators were saying that, you know, when the injuries are real, that those weren't their words, they're mine. But when the injuries are real, they were saying that it becomes difficult to focus on calling the regular action that they're supposed to be calling all the time. But that is their jobs. You know, when it's on live TV also, it takes a lot longer. They have to take the time to deal with getting the wrestler out of the ring. If it's a serious injury, they got to get them on a stretcher. And in this particular instance, I don't know why there wasn't already an ambulance there. They said they had to wait for one to come from the hospital. But they were talking about how it changes their mood. You know, and when they go around, they show what the fans' faces look like because they know it's real too. It doesn't matter if it's a good guy or a bad guy at that point. It doesn't matter if it's a face or a heel. The emotional state of mind gets to you. As for this day, I said in my previous video, I don't celebrate holidays. It's just like any other day to me. It's not because I'm a humbug like a lot of people would assume. And it's not only because I'm by myself and I have no one to spend it with. Believe me, if I had my kids or one of my 2 wives and my second wife, though, she didn't celebrate holidays either. So there was that. We'd still do something together as a family for ourselves, and depending, because her family still wanted to buy the kids presents and everything. So I'm not going to go into all that. But basically, it's not because of all that. It's because my beliefs. And it's ironic how many people don't understand that the holidays have nothing to do with God. It may anger some people who don't know the difference, but it's amazing to me how more people who don't even go to church know that. They know that it's a Catholic lie. And they may still celebrate it anyway, but they know the truth. But people who go to church don't know the truth. They don't see the difference. They don't understand that they're not doing what Christians are supposed to do. You'd be surprised too how many preachers know the reality, know the truth, and they still preach the lie. I have another YouTube account that's full of videos from my ministry that I was supposed to be a minister. I was supposed to be a ministering family with either of my wives and with the kids. They both ended up cheating on me, taking the kids away from me, taking my life away from me, which brings me to one of the reasons why I'm doing this now is because I mentioned how a lot of my things were taken from me. My whole life was stolen from me. I had a house full of aquariums. I had 8 big aquariums and medium aquariums, and I had a pond. You can see what I'm doing up here. Let's see if I can. I don't know how well that's showing. If I look up on my screen, there, you can see it over there. Yeah, I put that up close and you can't even see it, but if you're looking at a big enough screen, you can see what I'm doing. I don't have all the gaps filled in yet. Let's see. I'm just trying to finish this side of this wing. It's not all there. There's some gaps and streaks that once it dries, I'll be able to see better to fill them in. My aquariums. I can't have aquariums up here, and I don't know when I'm ever going to live somewhere where I'll do it all again. But I like to do the setups and the scenery inside those aquariums. And that's one of the things that was driving me to do this. Like I talked about in my previous video, making my own scenes and making my own landscape areas, and then taking videos and pictures of them. There's one group on Facebook, or it's a page, I don't remember. They're called Dwarven Forge, and these guys, man, they do some phenomenal setups with their castle structures and town structures and gaming setups. I'm not necessarily worried about being able to do that kind of thing, especially living up here. I don't have the room. I thought about buying empty aquariums and creating my own scenes inside those aquariums and putting them around against the walls. But I don't want to do that. Not right now. It would be too much to move out of here when it comes time to move out of here. My goal later is to go back down to Florida, so I don't want to have too much. Then I have to worry about paying to ship it. Now, I already know that if I were to leave tomorrow and go to Florida, that my TV and my weight bench would be left behind. I'm going to have to let this dry now. My brush is too wet for this to come on as thick as I would like. I'm going to need more brushes, I think, because when I'm putting them in the water and they're getting wet, I could wipe them off before I start using them again, but I wish I knew where that other one was. Oh. Okay. Give another view of this. I'm watching it on my screen. I'm waiting to catch up. Frankly, it doesn't really look terrible. It's just going to be a matter of me filling in the rest of it correctly. I said it on my original video that it's easy to go back over and paint over mistakes. So it's not as if it's going to be a terrible experience. And then it's just trial and error, like I've said one other time. All right, now it also becomes a question of remembering what color I used for certain parts. Pretty sure I used the Balthasar Gold to do these pillars, and I know I used the dry Necron compound. I didn't finish every section of this pillar with the this goes on a little easier with the wet brush. The drier paint. But I still wanted to have that rugged look like it's been just sitting there too long without any attention. Yeah, that's not bad. Using the dry compound with a wet brush. To this bottom area. Another problem I've got with doing this is the amount of time that I have to sit here leaning forward on my legs without propping them up. I need to be able to prop my legs up, because when I sit, it's been like that my whole life. When I sit forward on them too long, they just start to hurt. I've got a stool down here, but it's too high for me to use right now. I could put one foot up on it, but it's not going to sit there the way I'd like. Now, I wonder if I could do the wheels on this cart with this neck-on compound. See how well it goes on with a wet brush. I should use the wider one though. See, the wheels, this wheel is put on here by a piece of wood over the top of the wheel. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I should make that black. And then there's that bolt that's in the middle there. There's no way of knowing if that's a steel or an iron rod going through the wheels, or if it's just another big piece of wood. It's anybody's guess. I'm not exactly certain when they started using, if it was the Bronze Age, or I don't know. I can't remember the ages. But I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. At some point they started using metals to create things. You know, and then we had the blacksmiths and everything for all that stuff. For weapons and wagons and yeah. Seems I do need something to wipe off my brushes with. Here we go. Clearly I need more brushes. I probably need a brush for every color. So that's probably going to become a thing. I buy a new color, I buy a new brush. I know I don't have to do it like that. Let me see about getting the piece of wood that's holding the wheel on. See that little piece there that's coming out of the wood, that's just going to be covered in black. I'm putting a little bit much on here. I wanted to have a sun-faded rustic look, and now I've really thickened this up. But that's fine, because it's the other side that I was going to have it laying on its side. Oh no, I'm wrong. It was this side. Oh well. I was going to give it that sun-faded look, and I forgot to put this on a little bit more patchy. Major fail. The whole stream is ruined now. Yeah, the wheel needs to be a brownish. I tried that other color and that's not going to work. Maybe what I can do is give it a faded out black look like I do in the rest of the card. You know, I see the characters and the figurines of all the minis, and those will be difficult for me to paint right. I think that's why a lot of them are just single colored. Anybody who has the ability to paint those things really well. I'm sure some people use a magnifying glass, and it's entirely possible that I may have to do that. Alright. I've been doing this for about 36 minutes, and my body's getting too sore from sitting this way. So, we'll see when I make another one, and thanks for watching.